sometimes. I don't know what that means. Is that like, no, it's bad, or is that you're on?
I don't know. I think he's either saying go, it's on, or he's saying stop.
Stop. So it's confusing signal. Bruce, you're going to have to work on that.
I think he's got to work on a lot of things.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh, there's that filter.
Uh-oh, the filter. The filter.
All right, we'll wait a couple more minutes here.
Yes.
And talk about something like...
I know, I feel like we lost all of what... We were talking so much before this, and now we lost all of our...
Yeah. And women, we can talk, can't we?
We can talk.
Yes. We have a good conversation.
Yeah.
So I hope people are going to watch us tonight because the weather's really nice outside.
People might
It really is beautiful.
It is nice. It is very nice. Not raining. The sun's out.
Do you have any fans that you know that are watching?
Any fans? My mom might be watching. If you're watching, Mom, hello.
Yay. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Is that the classic?
Yeah.
On TV. Mom, I'm on TV.
Yes. I hope she's watching you. I hope she didn't forget.
I hope not either.
Oh, golly.
That'd be bad.
I hope maybe, I don't think Peyton's watching since he's in Africa.
Yes. Do you know, like, he's, like, on the mountain?
He's on the, hopefully. If not, then he fell.
He's supposed to be on the mountain. Oh. Yikes.
No, he's on the mountain. He's on a mountain in Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro, and he's supposed to be going up right now.
Okay. When is he supposed to start coming down? Do you know the timing of that?
I think it's tomorrow.
Okay.
I think tonight sometime he reaches the top.
Oh, that is exciting.
Yeah, but we won't know. I won't know till he's all the way off. So, yeah, he can't watch it. Danny's at school. She can't watch it. Maybe Taylor's watching.
Maybe.
Jordan's not watching. Jordan is not here. So, yeah.
Should we get our watch parties going?
Yes, let's get watch parties on.
Let's see if I can figure this out here.
Awesome.
Okay. Maybe. Watch party. Okay, share.
There you go.
Share now. Is that what we hit?
Share. Does it say watch party?
It
Does
didn't.
it say start a watch party?
It just said share now.
You're right.
I shared it to my timeline, though, so maybe that'll help. Maybe.
All right, let me see here. Up there we are. Okay.
There it is.
Let's see. Share and start a watch party. See how it's down there? Did you see it down there?
I didn't come up.
Oh, darn it. Okay, my watch party is started.
All right.
All right, is about to begin. All righty, cool. Now.
Gotta mute that.
Gotta mute it. Uh-oh.
We're going to hear ourselves in echo.
Awesome, I did that last time too. Okay, well, we are so glad that you are here tonight. I am Kim Chitwood. I'm our Next Steps pastor at Crossbridge Community Church, and with me is my sweet friend Makayla Hansen, and she has been with us before you did. She helped ask some questions.
For the trivia
the Bible trivia
Bible
questions.
Trivia with the guys.
With the guys, and they showed us how wise they are with the Bible.
How incredibly wise they are with the Bible.
I have a feeling that Makayla knew more than they
No,
did, but
I did not. So I can't talk because some of those questions I was like, I'm glad I have the answers because
you might
otherwise
not know 'em.
I wouldn't have the answer. Yeah.
So she gets to do this with me tonight, and so we look a little different than what your normal Thursday C3 Live is. It's the two of us. And I'm going to talk to Makayla. We're going to kind of do an interview style tonight. And Makayla is my Wednesday girl, and she is my sweetheart that I have known since she had just turned 3.
Yep.
She was a little thing and toddling around the church. And I have gotten to watch her grow into a beautiful, godly young woman who teaches me so much. And hopefully we'll get to teach you a lot tonight as well. We're going to talk tonight about our next steps, about Makayla's next steps. And we've been talking about our mission statement, which is transforming lives by helping people take next steps with God. And here at Crossbridge, it's not just about us helping people, it's the staff as well and our families taking next steps.
Right.
And so we thought it would be a great opportunity to have you on here as a young person who's actually done some next stepping. So we're going to do that today. But first, I think you have a question for me, don't you?
Yes. So every C3 Live, they do a brain teaser, right?
Yep.
And I saw the one that you were on, was that last week?
Yep.
Kim got the brain teaser. She proved
the first one
to get it. That's incredible. So we're hoping to go 2 for 2 tonight. Kim, are you ready?
I'm going to try here.
You are.
Brain is
this.
on.
You got this. Your brain is on. So I chose one because it's summertime, people are going
Okay.
on vacations. Maybe you are on vacation right now, tuning in, maybe not, but
Okay.
people are on vacation. So
Yep.
this has to do with traveling.
Okay.
The question is, Kim, what travels around the world but stays in one corner? What travels around the world but stays in one corner?
What travels
I know,
around
it seems like a paradox,
the
doesn't
world,
make sense,
but stays in one corner. Oh, shoot. I don't think I'm going to know this one.
if I can give you a hint.
Ooh,
Are hints allowed?
I don't think they're allowed.
Not allowed. It's all right
I
if you
have
don't-
no
It's
idea.
all right. It's okay. It's
I'm
a tricky
done.
one. All right.
What is it?
It is a stamp.
Oh,
Stamp can stay in one
a
corner of the
stamp.
envelope, but the actual envelope can travel.
Around
the
the
world.
world.
So it's tricky. That's
It
all right.
was
That was a
tricky.
tough one.
That was a tough one.
I don't know that the guys would have gotten that either. So
They
you're good.
would not have
They
gotten
would
it.
not have gotten
There's
it.
no way. There's
Sure.
no way. So anyway, so back to next steps, Miss Makayla. First of all,
Yes.
tell us about yourself.
Yes, right. Well, first of all, I do want to say thank you for your kind words and just thank you for the influence that you've had on my life, and the positive impact you've made on me and my walk with Christ. I'm so excited to be here chatting with you today and to be a part of the Crossbridge staff this summer as an intern and getting to watch the authenticity and the relationships of the staff. It's been a really cool experience. So I'm really excited. But yeah, I have been a part of Crossbridge basically as
Your
long as I
whole
can
life,
remember.
right?
My whole life, back when it wasn't even Crossbridge yet.
Yep.
And so I've gotten to grow up in the church, which has been, again, super cool and super fun to be a part of Crossbridge for that long. My mom and dad are a part of the church. Some of you
Yep.
might know my mom. Brenda Hansen is the children's director here at church, and she's been the children's director for as long as I can
Yes.
remember.
Mhm.
And then I have 3 older brothers who have all gone through Crossbridge, Logan, Connor, and Jacob. And
Yep.
they all have gotten married within the past 3-4 years, so
Yep.
I've got some great sister-in-laws. But currently, right now, I just graduated. What was that? Was that last year? Yeah,
Yep,
last
last
summer.
year.
I can't believe it's
A
already
whole
a whole
year.
year. So I graduated, and then I attend Grace College now. I'll be a sophomore this fall, studying business and
Wow.
communication. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah. So Makayla's our intern here and was hoping to get some experience, especially on the communication
Right.
side,
Yep.
which she's very good at, as you can
Aw.
tell already. You know, she does a great job speaking, and she does a lot of our announcements on Sundays,
Yep.
which is wonderful, and things like that. So the next step part, tell us first a little bit about, because it's our spiritual next steps that we talk about, but tell us a little bit about how has your personal spiritual life like grown or changed over the years?
Right, yeah. So, like I said, I grew up in church, which is a little bit of a different experience because I think when you're younger growing up in church, you don't necessarily own it right away. You don't always
Right.
know what that means. It's still been a really big part of my spiritual growth is the fact that I had that foundation.
Yep.
And I really appreciate my parents for making that a priority for me to come to church. But I don't think I really started to own my spiritual journey and my next steps until I was probably in middle school or high school.
Right.
Reached that maturity level where I understood more what it meant, and I was starting to realize what it looks like to have my faith impact my everyday life.
Sure.
And so now, I've had a lot of bigger life changes that have gone on recently with graduating and
Yep.
going to college, and so that's just been another opportunity for me to, again, think about, what does that look like for my faith to really be a part of my daily life, and what does it really look like to follow God and to know God and to spend
Right.
time with God. And so it's been a process, more recently of diving deeper into what do some of these things look like that I've been taught and I've learned growing up, and really starting to go into those a little bit deeper. So
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this time it's on you,
Right.
right? It's
Yeah.
not mom's faith.
Right.
It's not dad's faith
Right.
or any of your brother's faith. It's yours.
right,
So what does that look like? So you're trying to figure that whole thing out. And that's really what we all need to be doing.
yeah,
You know, no matter how old we are, we kind of have to get to the point we have to decide it's going to be about me and God
Right.
and nobody else. So
Right.
that's really cool.
yeah.
So let me think now. You said you graduated last year.
Yep.
How is, like, I know that as far as your decision on a college, I remember it took some time.
It did. It
Why,
did.
help us to understand that process of like making that decision and and how that all went
Right.
about.
Yeah. Well, I think for me, the college decision and the decision of what I was going to do when I got older was something that I was being asked early on, you know what I mean? And that's something I
Right.
think that is part of our culture now is we ask kids, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? And
Yep.
so there's definitely some pressure to try to have that all figured out, and I didn't. I didn't know where I wanted to go exactly.
Right.
I didn't know what I wanted to do exactly. I still don't know what I want to
Yeah,
do exactly.
for sure. Right.
But so I was kind of in this place of didn't know what that was going to look like, and that was hard at times. And along with that, again, came some pressure, I think, and some expectations that I felt to go to a certain type of college or to
Sure.
study a certain type of thing. And the funny thing is, it wasn't that I can pinpoint like a certain person who was putting that pressure on, or it wasn't that the expectations were verbalized to me, but I
Right.
think in my own mind, which sometimes we do that, right? We think
Yep.
people have these expectations of me. There's this pressure. I got to live up to what people want of me or expect of me.
Sure.
And so there was some of that coming into it, and thinking about, am I selling myself short? Are people going to think I'm selling myself short? All of those different things, which complicated the process a little bit,
Right.
maybe, and trying to make those decisions. But one thing, and I don't know if you remember this, but you told me that actually helped the decision be easier. You gave me the analogy of like God's hand, and you showed me your hand, and you said, this can be God's hand, and it's not that God says, Makayla, you are only in my will if you go down this one path.
Right.
You might have multiple paths that you can choose, and you'll still be in my hand. You'll still be in my will.
Right.
And I think that released some of that pressure a little bit of
Wow.
like, there's
Yep.
not one right answer.
Sure.
I can go multiple places and still be in God's will and still be doing what he wants me to do, and he can still use that and use me. So even if that's something that I knew inside, you telling me that and really realizing that, I think helped a little bit. And
Right.
and eventually I just it wasn't that I had like a lightning bolt moment of like God saying, this is what you're going to do. It was kind of more, I looked at my options, and I looked at what made the most sense and what felt right, and that's how I ended up at Grace, and doing what I'm doing with business and communication, which even that again was a process of trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to major in,
Right.
and I still don't know where that's going to lead me, and what kind of job that's going to lead me to, but I'm open and excited for what God's going to do. So
I love that. And I love that you are, being vulnerable and like sharing that, because I think there are younger people that are watching, and even some older adults that are kind of a little bit concerned about their purpose, and do I need to change it, and is
Right.
God directing me, and there's so many times where God's like, hey, there's these options, there's all these options, none of them are bad.
Right.
You choose whatever you feel right with. A lot of times we do think this is the right one, this is the wrong one.
Right.
And it's
It's
not
not
always
always
that
like- yeah.
way. No, it's not always black and white like that. So I love that you did that, and I love that you just said, okay, go for it. We're going to do
Yeah.
this. And probably now even know that over the next few years, you might even kind of zero in a little bit more on what you
Right.
want to do, or change
Right.
things up a little bit,
Yeah.
but you're willing to do that if
Right.
God leads,
Right.
right?
Yeah, which is sometimes we think that that's not how it's supposed to go, and we're supposed to have it all figured out, but it's like
Right.
the reality is, when we take next steps, it's okay to be in this place of like, I am in the middle of taking a step. I'm in the middle of trying to figure this
Right.
out, and just being open with that and saying, I do not have it all figured out, and people will ask me, what do you want to do? And I'll say, I have no idea. You know what I mean? But it's
Right.
like, I got to be okay with that,
I
because
love that.
God doesn't always just say, here's the plan, Makayla, here's the
That's
life map,
right.
follow that.
Very
you know
rarely.
what I mean? Right.
He doesn't
so it's
ever
like,
do that, right?
it's learning to trust him and just say, what's the next step for right now. So
That's right. Awesome. I love it. And that is such a growth of your faith. Trusting, I'm going to trust God in this moment right now, and then keep moving forward. And if I think he's guiding me another
Right.
direction, I will
Right.
go there. So there was something that happened at college. You got asked to do something. An opportunity kind of fell in your lap,
yes.
but you weren't real sure about it. Tell
Right.
us about that.
Yes. So at Grace, we have something called a growth group leader, and there are usually like one or two per hallway that girls live on in the dorms,
Right.
And boys. And they are sort of in charge of the spiritual growth of the hall and the people living on the hall. They'll lead a weekly Bible study that people
Sure.
can attend, that freshmen attend. And so, again, they're kind of looking at the spiritual growth of the people on the hall and building those relationships. And so my roommate, actually, this past year, she was going to be an RA, so she's going to be a resident assistant on a hall.
Okay.
And the resident assistants are the ones that choose the growth group leaders.
Gotcha.
Now, the growth group leaders usually go through the application process and say, hey, I want to be a growth group leader, and then the RH choose from those people.
Mm-hmm.
I did not go through the process. I thought about it, and then I was like, you know what? Not for me this year, maybe some other time.
Okay.
But what ended up happening is that my roommate needed a growth group leader, and so she did this thing called shoulder tapping, where she basically asked me, hey, would you be willing and interested in being one of the growth
Sure.
group leaders on the hall next year? And so, like you said, I was presented with this decision, and it wasn't for me. It wasn't like I knew right away what I wanted to do. I wasn't sure, and I really struggled with it.
Mm-hmm.
I went back and forth. At one point, would think, this is not for me. I just
Sure.
want to have a normal year next year, just being a normal college student. Normal college student. But
Yeah.
and then other times, and eventually, I got to the place where I was like, you know what? I think this is an opportunity for me to say, you know what, God, I don't know how this is going to look. I have a lot of
Wow.
unanswered questions about this, but I'm going to do it anyways. And
Wow.
I'm going to, try to put my faith into action so much. I think I talk about how important it is to put our faith over our fear and to trust God. But this was an opportunity for me to say, you know what, this is an action I'm going to take, a next step I'm going to take to really
Yeah.
show you that I trust you, and to say, God, this is in your hands because I don't have all the answers.
Right.
So yeah, I ended up accepting the position, and I look forward to doing that this
Wow.
next year in the fall, a couple months away or a month away. So
Wow.
yeah.
And do you still have a little bit of fear?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it scares me to think about being a leader on the hall and kind of being a leader all the time. Because I
Yes.
live with these girls, and so I do daily life with them, and thinking through, will they see me as a leader, and how do I balance being a leader with just being a friend and just being real and being
Right.
myself? So absolutely, it's not like I made the decision and then God, everything went away. God is still there and he's still big, but my mind keeps racing,
Yes,
and
sure.
I think about all the possibilities and the worries. So
Right.
yeah.
And oftentimes I have noticed in my life that when I am excited and scared at the same time,
Mhm.
it's often right when I'm in the center of God's will, because we have to rely on Him still.
Right.
Mm-hmm. You're going to have to continually go to Him to ask,
Mhm.
what do I say? Where's some of your wisdom, God?
Right.
What scripture do I use? There's going to
Right.
be a lot of that. So I think it's just going to stretch you and grow you like crazy, because you're going to have to lean on God.
Right.
One thing, and I didn't even get your permission for this to say
right.
this, but one major thing I notice about you, Makayla, you are one of the smartest, sweetest girls I know.
Aw.
Okay? Humility is so huge in your life. Like, help me understand how it is. Because I look at and I see them approaching you for this and saying, Makayla, I can just see them going, you would be an amazing spiritual, growth leader because of the person you are. But then I almost see, I have a feeling that your humility inside you goes, oh, I don't think I can do that. Even though other people, like on your outside, see, that you just are just gifted and you are just an amazing, a woman of God. So how does humility play out in next steps, in maybe, is it difficult to make some of those decisions
Right.
because, and I know maybe for you, you've even said to me, is it not humility? Is it self-criticism? But.
Right. Yeah. I think, honestly, there's a lot that goes on, and it's such a complicated, thing in my mind and my brain. I think sometimes I am a very selfish person, and so the humility is me trying to be like, to pull myself back a little bit and to
Wow.
say, that's not right, and that's not okay to think, that, oh, look at me, like I got offered this position. But I think on the other hand, there is that mix of like, the devil trying to step in and say,
right.
you're not good enough for this,
Sure.
and these are all the ways that you're going to screw up, and
Sure.
you're not ready for this.
And then you fear all that failure.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think it's a combination of things. But yeah, I think you have to find the balance of not being selfish, but also recognizing the gifts that God has given you, but coming at it from a place of, it's not that I'm gifted, it's that God, God is working through me. You know what I mean? It's not me, it's God, kind of a thing. And I once had someone say to me, or tell me this, and it was really cool. They said, anything good in me or anything good in us is from God.
That's right.
And it's like, that is humbling, and that's the truth of it, is that anything I do is not me, it's God. Or the good things that I do is not me, they're God. And so it's finding that balance of, not being too prideful and selfish, but also recognizing, and not being too self-critical, but recognizing, I have gifts and I want God to use them, and those are God working through me. And so if I look at this position and I say, you know what, I think I have the giftings for that. Or if you look at something that you've been offered and you're like, I think God can use this, it can use me, I have the gifts for this, being able to take that step without feeling like you're being prideful, or without being too critical of yourself. So it's this balance.
It's a balance, yeah, which it often is. It completely is.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So also, you just got back just recently, like what, a week ago?
Last Friday. Was that last Friday? Yeah.
Yeah.
A week ago.
From
Almost a week ago.
Belize.
Yep. Yes.
And went on a mission trip was there 32 other people?
32, including me. So
okay, so 32.
31 other people, yeah.
Okay,
yep.
So great. So that was another big step.
Yes.
And
right.
First of all, why was it a big step for you?
Yeah, so I have never gone overseas. I've also never been on a plane before, so there was a lot of firsts on this trip. I've been on missions trips, but they've been more local or just within the United States at least.
Sure.
So this was my first one going outside the country, and my first time on a plane. So there was a lot of opportunity there to be scared and to be, again, for Satan to step in and say, you're going to mess this up, or you know what I mean, you're not going to do well with this. So yeah, it was a big deal because it was a lot of newness and a lot of comfort zone stretching. So
right, a lot of unknowns during that too.
Right.
Like you kind of knew what you all were going to do, but it was a lot of unknowns.
Right.
So what did you do there? Like what type, if you want to share a couple stories or.
For sure. So we got to do a handful of different things. One of the things that we got to do was we worked with a church there a lot of the time, and so they would feed us and we would do service projects for them.
Nice.
And so we got to build some relationships with the people there. But we ran a VBS for them in the mornings for 3 days for some of the kiddos in the community. We helped deliver some groceries to families in the area.
Awesome.
A lot of our guys helped build bunk beds and deliver bunk beds to people. So a lot of different things, a handful of different things. But yeah, it was people ask me, how did it go? How did it go? And a lot of times I'll say, you know what? It was difficult.
Yeah.
Because, I think sometimes people expect it to have felt like a vacation, and you're like, it really wasn't a vacation.
No, you worked the whole time.
It was difficult. It was comfort zone stretching for sure, but it was still good. You know what I mean? And there's still a lot of lessons that I've taken away from it, and I'm sure that the other people on the trip have taken away. And even just getting closer to the people that went on the trip and bringing those relationships back to Crossbridge and bringing the things that we learned back to Crossbridge. So, yeah, it was a good experience. Difficult, but good.
That's awesome. I'm so proud of you for doing that because
you.
I know, like I said, next steps are not always easy.
Right.
They can be difficult, and actually with doing them with God is why we can do them. And that's the only way we can do them is with God.
Right.
And so, but staying stuck is not good either.
Right.
So I see you taking a lot of next steps. I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
So moving forward now in your life, do you think you're always going to be one that kind of craves taking next steps, or is it going to be this? Is it going to be difficult? Do you like taking next steps? Is it something you do just because you feel like you have to do them? Do you want to do them?
Right.
Because
Honestly,
I think people kind of go, is it a have to? Do I want to?
Right. Yeah. I really think it depends. And that might be the cop-out answer, but I know that sometimes I get restless really easily, and so sometimes
Yeah.
I crave this like change or taking next steps. But like you said, not all next steps are easy.
No.
And so there will be next steps in my life, and there have been that it's like I look at it and I'm like, I don't want to take that next step, or I don't want to do that because it looks like it's going to be hard, and it looks like I can't do
Sure.
it. But what I have to remember is like we've been saying, it's God. You know, God's
It's
going to help you
God.
take that next step. If that's a next step that's in His will, He's there. You know
He's
what I mean?
gonna be
He's gonna
right
help
there
you,
with
and
you.
He's gonna
That's
fight
right.
for you. And so, yeah, I think it really depends on the type of next step. And sometimes next steps will be a combination. It'll be I'm
Yeah.
excited, but I'm also terrified, and so
Yeah.
it's this limbo of like I
Right.
want to take it, but I don't want to take it because I have these
Right.
fears. But yeah, I think it's a little bit of both, and it
Right.
might depend on the personality, the person, but
That's right.
Yeah.
And we all are different.
right.
But I do believe taking a next step with God will bring that joy that we love, you know.
Yeah.
So it's a good thing. So
Right.
tell me what we were talking a little bit about scripture. You're talking about like your personal growth and learning to, you know, take some time with God on your own.
Yeah.
What is a scripture that really has spoken to you?
Yeah, and this is funny because we talked about this earlier, and I told you, actually, I said, Kim, your daughter, Danny,
Yeah.
actually, this is her favorite verse, and I remember her telling it to me, and I was like, I really like that.
Yep.
So it's Exodus 14:14, and it says, for the Lord will fight for you, you need only to be still. And it's really cool. The verse itself is really cool, just thinking about how, you know, we can look at a situation and we don't have to have all the answers, and we don't have to
Right.
think about how am I going to do this? How are we going to do this? Because God will fight for you, and that's what the
Yep.
verse says. But also, this is in the context of the parting of the Red Sea, which
Oh,
makes it
with
even
Moses.
cooler. Yeah,
Sure.
of like these Israelites came and were like, God, what? Like, why did you lead us out of Egypt? Why are we here? What's
Right.
going on? And they're freaking out. And I think we do that sometimes when we look at a next step, especially, and we're like,
Sure.
how are we going to do this? You know what I mean? Why am I here?
Right.
I did that in Belize, and I had to pull myself back and say, wait a second, like the Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still.
Wow. So you were reminded of that verse
Yes,
while you're in
I
Belize.
was. I looked it up because I needed an attitude shift about halfway
Wow.
through the trip, and I was
Very
like, you know what?
cool.
Yeah, the Lord will fight for you. I need only to be still. So
Very cool. Awesome. I love that. Makayla, I am so thankful that you've
Thank
been
you.
here with me
yeah,
today, and she's gonna wrap us up
I
here.
am.
But again,
Yeah.
I feel like you teach me. You're like my little, like I said, I call her my Wednesday girl. She used to come over every Wednesday.
I did.
But you teach me and you show me so much about who God is and your courage and your desire to do things the way God wants you to do them. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Well, again, this has been super awesome, and I've been super blessed to just be a part of this experience. But I did want to let you guys know that we are launching a new series this week, and Kim and Bruce will actually be starting us off. We're learning about these phrases in Hebrews chapter 4, talking about let us, and they say let us do something. So this week, like I said, Bruce and Kim will be speaking on let us rest, which I know you guys have been talking in the office about this, and I think it's going to be a really cool discussion to listen in on. So I'm excited for that, and we hope to see you there too. Our services are at 9 and 10:30. We do stream the 10:30 service, so
That's right.
if you are on vacation and can't make it, you can still tune in to that at
That's
10:30.
right.
Also, for next week's C3 Live, we will have Trevor and Jordan continuing this discussion about next steps and next steps that they are taking in their lives.
Yep.
And then eventually, we will have the pleasure of having Brad and Barb up here talking about some of their next steps that they've taken in their lives. So really
That's
cool
right.
stuff.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. Thank you so much.
Are we good? Are we off?
I don't know if we're off. Did he fall asleep?
Is he still awake? Are we still on?